Hello, my name is Austin, and this is Go Access, a YouTube channel dedicated to access in higher education and disability rights. Today is Friday, so I'm going to be doing a quick news roundup of the news from the week. The first story I wanted to cover was published in the Princetonian, and it's called No Way In, Campus Accessibility. And although the article is not written by Naomi Hess, it's really about her struggles on Princeton's campus using a wheelchair and how inaccessible the campus is. Any guesses how inaccessible the campus is? What percentage of inaccessibility do you think? Looking at this campus map, you can see the answer is roughly 60% of the Princeton campus is not wheelchair accessible. Naomi, for example, was invited to play cards with one of her friends in the dorm, but couldn't because it wasn't accessible. There was no elevator to get her to the second floor. Naomi is working with Princeton to create an accessibility guide for on-campus social clubs and events to let them know, which areas are accessible for people who use wheelchairs. Accessibility improvements. Princeton is working on accessibility improvements, but a lot of them are reactive. Princeton, for example, did not have an Office of Disability Services, ODS, till 2006, 16 years after the passing of the ADA. More colleges are offering 24/7 support through community vans such as Harvard and Yale, but Princeton does not yet have 24/7 access for students who use wheelchairs. And they do have an accessible van, but it just doesn't run 24/7. Financial constraints are the biggest issue of why upgrades have not occurred on the campus. Changing gears. Website accessibility is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. The Google Lighthouse is basically a website test that measures things like color contrast, whether images, buttons, and fields in online forms have been tagged with meaningful names and descriptions. It looked at the top 20 websites most popular from Google, and the average score of the top 20 websites was 66.6 out of 100. That's very low for accessibility and again highlights the need for us to continue to improve website accessibility. Read Davenport's Wheelchair Diaries is a very interesting film that I think you guys should check out. I'm hoping to see it maybe this coming weekend. What it is about his experience with cerebral palsy. He grew up in Washington, D.C. He wanted to study abroad but was discouraged his junior year from studying abroad because of his disability. They said that it was not accessible enough where he wanted to go in Europe. Reed made the Wheelchair Diaries about his experience in 5 European cities using his wheelchair, and he brought a cameraman to document his findings. I really think you should consider checking out this film, maybe incorporating it into your disability office as like a movie screening or something like that. Online tutoring services are becoming more popular. I recently looked at some of the leading providers' feed paps and was disappointed. The tutoring websites are navigable with a screen reader, and a blind student can communicate with a chat box. Some of them also even had high contrast mode, and some math accessibility was planned. However, I felt that the big issue these tutoring services are not covering is captioning. And what's going on is none of them right now, from what I could see looking at the VPAPs and talking to some of the vendors and their reps, they did not have support for third-party captioning or any type of video relay service or algorithmic captioning. There was no captioning support. They said that students who are deaf can use the chat box, and I was very disappointed about that. I think this could become a legal liability for colleges in the future. The last thing I want to cover is Google Glass. A study looking at 71 children on the autism spectrum, ages 6 to 12, found that those who used Google Glass, in addition to participating in applied behavior analysis, ABA therapy, had greater gains than children who received ABA alone. The glass detects 8 emotions, including happy, sad, angry, scared, surprised, disgusted, contempt, and neutral. So basically, the glass is acting as an aid for the child to help them identify human emotions. I thought that was interesting, and hopefully in the future, Google Glass and other devices like it will be able to offer greater accessibility and supports for people with all different types of disabilities. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.